YouTube channel, guys. Thanks for tuning in this week. Lots has happened since the last video. I apologize for it taking this long to make another YouTube video. I've moved states, I've had a broken ankle, I bought a brand new bike, and had some technical difficulties. So this is my first video that I'm filming without a cameraman or woman, so please stick with me on this one. This review is going to be incredibly important to me. This is actually one of my dream bikes, the 2004 Yamaha R6. My original plan was to go R3, R6, R1, and if I'm lucky, R1M, but sticking with the Yammies for now. Today I'll be going through how the bike feels, specs, colorways, and my opinion on who the bike would suit. Yeah, so please stay tuned for the video and find out more. Okay, so getting straight into it. Firstly, the Yamaha R6 is powerful. The Yamaha R6 was the first 600cc production super sport that made over 100 horsepower in stock form, basically. This is a huge amount of power for any motorcycle, but particularly so for one of its weight. It is quite light for its time in 2004. As the original R6, which weighed under 197 kilograms, this bike is about probably borderline 200 kilograms. So secondly, the Yamaha R6 is an excellent track motorcycle. This means that to ride a Yamaha R6, you have to keep it revving between 8 and 14,000 RPM to really feel it pull. You notice this, definitely. Well, I've noticed this riding through town. If I'm not revving it high enough, it does kind of cut out a little bit. May have something to do with the fan as well, but we'll talk about that later. The R6 is a really different feeling and sound to anything I've ridden before. Obviously, the jump from the 300cc category to the 600cc category makes a difference, and also my aftermarket exhaust. But even in stock form, I've heard the R6s and they sound phenomenal, in my opinion. With the RPM, we've got the R6 really isn't apparently, but personally I think it's more torquey, obviously going from that different category. Below about 6,000 RPM it feels a bit sedated. However, once you get that pull on the 8 to 14,000 RPM, you really feel it kick in and it'll just go. When you're under that 8,000 RPM it struggles. It'll do it, but it does struggle. So speaking from experience, the R6 does not like to go slow, but it'll do it, obviously with that, you know, bumping, I guess, slow chuffs. Basically, if you want an R6 and you want an uncompromising, race-winning, raw motorcycle that you can more easily push it to its limits than a leader bike, R6, perfect option. However, you have to be on your full license. There's one catch of the R6, you have to be on your full license because of its power to weight ratio. Its power to weight ratio basically is the equivalent to a 1000cc motorbike. So just be careful. Don't buy an R6 on your learners or your reds or your greens. The R6 does have a very high seat. It has one of the highest seats in its class. This is perfect for aggressive riding around a racetrack, which is what the R6 is originally built for, and why they have moved towards R6s in this day and age, 2022, to only track bikes and not road legal bikes. That change was made last year, so now the R6 has turned to the R7, and the R6s are being discontinued from now on. So you have that aggressive stance. It's easy to get the bike to flip over in a corner from side to side. It allows for more ground clearance when you've got your knee down scraping the pegs. So it is very versatile with track riding and very made for it. More than, say, obviously Yamaha's M207s, which are upright, you know, lower seat, higher handles, whereas this one's the opposite, lower handles, higher seat. R6 is a great package, in my opinion, and into a lot of people's opinion that I've talked to. It has really agreeable ergonomics. Basically, you buy an R6 if you value power, speed, and thrills, or more more than probably your license, if you have the road legal version of one like this. Or perhaps your life, I guess, if you really want to go there and push your limits. Because its top speed is, I think, about 250, 260 kilometers per hour. So, I mean, if you want your license, probably don't get this bike, and if you don't really like going fast, do not get this bike. But if that's what you prefer and if that's what you are going for, this is definitely a great pick for you. So we know that the R6 is obviously faster than the 300s because not only the engine size, but obviously the torque to weight ratio. However, the R6 2004 goes 0 to 97 kilometers an hour in 3 to 3.3 seconds. So I sort of touched base on the tank and fuel earlier in the video. The fuel economy is 6.19 to 6.17 litres per 100 Ks, which isn't too bad, but if you are looking for a fuel efficient bike, this is definitely not the bike for you. Really just want to reiterate how the R6 is not the best choice for a beginner motorcycle rider. It has a powerful engine, uncomfortable ergonomics, and a high price, mostly. I got this on a really good deal, but usually quite a high price. The R6 is a high performance racer bike that can be handled by more experienced riders and obviously people who are looking to go to the track. For new riders, obviously I recommend my path, so the R3 first. Anything from a 125 to a 400, definitely aimed more towards the beginner riders. Definitely do not get an R6 for your first bike, especially if you only just got your license. So as I touched on, the Yamaha R6 is not comfortable, let's be honest. Whatever you do, do not pillion someone with an R6. It is so uncomfortable, just don't go there, it is not worth it. Your pillion will be grumpy and it's not fun, trust me, because the high foot pegs and high seat literally feels, when you're sitting up that high, literally feels like you're like sitting on someone's shoulders. It feels that uncomfortable, and obviously you're getting the G-force and the wind, and it's just not worth it. Personally, I don't really care about comfort because I love this bike and I love its power. The sitting position, comfort has basically been sacrificed for performance and optimum aerodynamics as well, forcing the rider to adopt a bent over riding position. And obviously riders shouldn't be on an R6 for long periods of time because you will get backaches, like honestly. So if you see here, that low position, straighten out, I can't really reach the ground, don't mind me. That low handlebars, have to have your arms bent obviously, and your pegs are quite high up here. So it forces you to sit down over the tank here in that aggressive stance. Not for everyone, I realise, but just something to look for, something that comes into handy to know when you're buying a brand new motorcycle, new or old. It makes a real difference whether you're going for power or whether you're going for more comfort. So if it's comfort you're after, not the R6. If it doesn't matter to you and you care more about the power, R6 is for you. So, price. Base price for one of these, any R6 really, is about $1,200 to $1,300 Australian dollars. However, if you're lucky and keep your eyes open on Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree, anything else you can think of, you can get one of these bad boys for about anywhere between say 4 and 7 grand, depending on the year model and condition it's in basically. Another fun fact, the R6 is fuel injected. It inhales through 4 38mm vacuum pistons, throttle bodies, and it is the first fuel injected R6 that makes more mid-range power than the carbonated predecessor R6. So talking about Redline and Max Revs. So the 2004 Revs Redline's at 18,000 RPM. Basically, it was advertised that it is 2000 RPM higher than any previous R6 model and was the highest tachometer redline of any 2004 production 4-stroke motorcycle engine. However, there are other things like the true maximum engine speed was limited by the ECU to around 15,800 RPM, if I remember correctly. This is the first Yamaha R6 to gain fuel injection, as I mentioned earlier, and also radial brakes. The 2004 model is categorized between the 2003 and 2005 generation, and they are categorized as the best bunch of R6s. As well, it has a high degree of track focus. Basically, if you want a super sport bike that epitomizes the glory years of its fabulous class before they all went out of terms searching for that final tenth of a second for that super sport rider, this is basically the generation to buy, the 2003 to 2005. Highly recommended. Speaking now on the engine here. So while the R6's motor may look similar to the previous generation's engines, Yamaha claimed it was over 90% new overall. Basically featuring forged instead of cast pistons, which are both lighter and stronger. The R6's cams are also higher lift than before, so from 8.2 millimeters, 8.2 millimeters from 7.8 millimeters to allow the motor to get more fuel air intake and outtake, therefore producing more power overall. Something to note that's quite interesting is while Suzuki are traditionally the firm who likes to shout about balancing the crankcase pressure out below the pistons, Yamaha actually took this path on the 2000 R6 redesign, basically to boost the mid-range performance, while the bore and stroke remained unchanged. A bit more upgrades includes the chassis. The R6's all-new Delta Box chassis, now painted black, just two welded sections where the older generation's frame had a massive 16. This was achieved through a new controlled filling alley die casting procedure, basically which uses vacuum pressure to pull the liquid metal into the mold. This procedure, quite an important feature because it actually was really impressive because Yamaha claimed that as well as being 0.5 kilograms lighter than before, the frame was 50% stiffer and now had the same rigidity as the new YZF-R6's homodulated frame. That was a mouthful. So as well as the upgrades to the chassis, the swing arm was also constructed using die casting and is longer than before models, now sitting at about 575.5 millimeters. The swing arm was updated mainly to accommodate to the new conventional size front tire as the model ran 120/70 instead of the R6's traditional 120/60 front tire. How good. We love, as short people, an fully adjustable suspension system. So I've struggled with this a little bit being a shorter person, shorter motorbike rider. If the suspension or forks don't adjust, well, I can basically kiss that bike goodbye because I do usually need it lowered. This bike has been slightly lowered at the front forks, but suspension has not been touched yet. I am looking to change my suspension in the future for maybe track days, but for now I think I'll just leave it with the front forks and figure out the back suspension later. So this fully adjustable 43mm conventional forks featured thinner stanchions to reduce weight, while according to the Yamaha website, not compromising the stiffness. These were replaced in a year later, 2005, to 41mm inverted forks, which are also fully adjustable. So between the 2004 and 2005 models, and you are short, it's fine, don't worry, they're adjustable. You can lower the bike. The shock is fully adjustable back here, and although visually similar, was updated alongside the forks in 2005 also. So no matter 2004, 2005 year model, the short people are safe. Short riders, no need to worry. 2004 R6, pride and joy. Overall, fantastic and easy to use cockpit. The colours are amazing. Red, red goes faster, adds an extra 2 horsepower. You've got Unfortunately, my bike was dropped before I bought it, so it does have a few little scratches here. A bit of the paint is peeling off, but overall a very good plastics and tank durability. Great for track. I use mine mostly as a commuter. I know I'm going to get comments saying that it is not a commuter bike, but for now it is until I'm ready for the track and have all the gear. Super easy to use, really fun to ride. You just let it rip and it just goes. Doesn't like going slow as mentioned earlier, but you get used to it. And the tail lights are beautiful. That is one thing I really like about the R6 are the tail lights, and I get compliments on group rides for the tail lights quite often. Only thing I've done that has been done to this bike is aftermarket handlebars and aftermarket exhaust. You can do, the world is endless with aftermarket things. I'm going to do change the gear levers and brake levers and the fan, but that is going to be in a later video probably. And I will now scan the exhaust on for you guys to have a listen. So turning it on. Thanks for tuning into this week's video on Moto MC. I hope to stay more up to date once I move again, another state, in the next month, and hopefully I'll be able to film some more and get some cameraman or woman help. But for now, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this Yamaha R6 bike review. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe.